Hi, friends. This is Dr. Arpita Gupta Dipalma, and you're listening to my podcast, From Pissed Off to Poised. This show is for busy women physicians and professionals just like you who are ready to take control of their emotions while learning how to excel in juggling all the things they are responsible for in life. It's for overextended mamas who are trying to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. It's for multitasking women who are tired of playing the role of the angry and resentful air traffic controller, who simply want to learn how to create a life that is more calm, intentional, and joyful for themselves. My goal is to help you learn how to eliminate the overwhelm and maintain your composure in high-stress situations that you face with the demands in your day-to-day life. Because I get you guys, this was totally me. You are not alone. I invite you to embark on your journey of transformation with me. Enjoy the listen. Welcome to another episode of From Pissed Off to Poised. I am excited today to have Erin Auer with me here today. I had the privilege of meeting Erin back in the fall of 24. Well, actually, I met her before then, but I heard her speak in the fall of 24 at a conference I was at. And she kind of blew my mind because the parts of the time management that I really felt like I can't verbalize really well, she masterfully did so. And so I thought it would be a wonderful treat for you guys to have somebody who could talk a little bit about the tech and the back end and how we make time management actually become doable and easy in our life with all the things. So welcome, Erin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. I would love for you to just maybe start with telling everybody a little bit about yourself and how you kind of maybe didn't realize, or maybe you did realize, you became kind of the expert in how to optimize your time management in your life. Like, what are tools and ways to do it? So how did you step into it or like fall into it?
So it really is kind of an extension of my day job. My day job is I'm a client advocate at PCC, which is Pediatric Focused EHR. So I spend a lot of time chatting directly with pediatricians and helping them learn to use the PCC software. And we talk about all kinds of things. And as you're having these conversations, you really start to hear all of the other workflows in their office. And people just, when they begin to recognize you as an expert in something, they start to ask you about other tools. And so it was really born out of a need to support that both in my own life and in my clients' work. So that's where that came from.
Well, I guess let's start with talking a little bit about maybe your personal experience when you maybe recognized that there were tools and resources available to you out in the world that would make your life much easier. Did that even happen? Did it start with you personally and then trickle into
Yes.
work?
The moment for me, and I think of your work when I tell this story with the anger, the background is that my husband loves to attend concerts. Just
Mhm.
any concert that he will buy tickets and he will go and he will have the greatest time, even if he's never heard that band before and never goes to listen to them again. The whole experience, he loves it. So we live near a really wonderful outdoor venue, and he was buying tickets for like any concert that went on sale during the summer. It's lovely in Vermont, and I get it, but he would just buy them and not tell me. And then he would realize the day before, oh my gosh, we have a concert tomorrow night. And I'd go, I cannot get a babysitter. It's no notice. So sometimes he'd go by himself, or sometimes he would completely forget that he had purchased tickets for something.
Gosh.
So it was
Oh my.
like, it builds anger and resentment. And you're like, this is a waste of money. It feels like there's an emotional burden on me to make something happen quickly with no notice. Or if I don't go with him, am I not being fun? Or, all that. So we said, okay, we have to fix this. We have to have a shared calendar just for concerts. So, this is something we both put things on our phone calendars already, but we had not connected the dots of, oh, we need to share those. So that was the genesis of both our shared family calendar that we can both see all the kids stuff on, any travel goes on there, and a separate, differently colored so it stands out calendar for concert tickets. Now, his workflow is that as soon as he buys one, he puts it on the calendar. Most tickets these days are PDFs, so he'll link the PDF right to the invite so that it's easy for him to find later on. And then I'll see it on the calendar. So I set an alert for a week in advance so that I book a babysitter. That has smoothed things out so much. We both get to go to concerts. We both get to have fun. and no one is resentful. It's made a real difference. So if it makes a difference for me, how many other people are having that same struggle?
Oh, yeah. I talk a lot about that, the lack of communication of the
Yeah.
expectation. Like, especially when we've been with a partner for so long, we kind of anticipate or expect that they know what we're thinking or know what we're doing. And then when the things come up, like on the weekends, especially, and there's no coverage, it's just like, oh, and it can lead to such a short fuse. And so
Yeah.
that's a perfect, great example of how we don't even recognize what we're doing, but then we stop and for a minute and pause and reflect and look at it. We're like, okay, this is so solvable. We just have to actually
Yeah.
be a little bit intentional about it. So I guess before we dive into like some of the tech tips that you have, can you talk a little bit about some of the most common time management mistakes that you see people make and maybe they don't even realize that they're doing it?
Yes, and I will be the first to admit that I was the most guilty of this. I want to make my husband sound like the only one who's not paying attention to things and being considerate. Travel
Mhm.
was whenever I have a work trip, I was putting the dates of the event and not the travel on both ends. So being realistic about how much time something is going to take, whether that is a task that you are working on for the afternoon or a trip, being realistic and honest with yourself about that and planning for that is so important. And I see so many people trip on that step.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. I think it's so easy to forget, like, oh, I actually have to drive to the dentist to get there for the appointment's at 3. But so I can't just like plan on figuring out at 3 what I'm doing to get myself there, you know? So
Right.
even travel time for
Mhm.
mini trips, not just big trips. But I get you. My husband's had a couple of words shot at him when he has, first of all, if he hasn't put a conference in that he's attending, or he's put the conference in, but it's this just the date of the conference, not to
Mhm.
indicate that he has to fly out the day before and won't be coming back till the day after or the at the end
Right.
of the weekend, things like that. It's just like, we can't do it this way, sweetheart. We have to communicate.
Right.
So
Right. But so often we don't realize that we're doing it. So
yeah.
yeah, taking that time to assess the things that are currently on your calendar and see if you are being honest with yourself about how long those things are going to take. That's the thing that I see most often. People
Yeah.
shrug and say, "Oh yeah, I can complete that task in 20 minutes." And maybe you could in a perfect world where you had absolutely zero interruptions and you had done all the pre-work that needs to get you to the place where you're ready to complete that task. But no, the honest answer is it's going to take you 60 minutes to complete that. And that's okay. Just plan for it.
Just plan for it. Exactly. I guess also, are there any like counterintuitive strategies that you've like discovered that work really, really well for saving time? Like, I think our gut instinct is if I spend time on this, I'm actually wasting time when I should be doing that instead and just getting it done. So, anything that you have discovered or kind of come across over the years?
Yes. The other thing that I remind people about is it's three parts, right? It's install, implement, integrate. It's not just installing the pretty app and now you're ready to go. It's never that simple. They have done some amazing work, and many apps are basically plug and play in ways that we never would have thought of 5 years ago. But you have to install it and make sure that you are installing something that actually is going to meet your needs. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then implementation. This is the hardest step. It is the easiest to skip, but it is probably the most important. Make sure that you are setting things up fully and correctly, as much data as you can put into this so that when you start using it, things are there and it looks lived in, because that's what takes you to step 3, which is integrate. And that's really bringing it into your daily life and integrating it into your personal workflows and your daily use so that it matters.
Mhm.
So it is so easy for people to skip implementing, just put the very basic minimum in there and then try to move on to the next step. And then they wonder a week, 2 weeks later, why isn't this working the way I thought it would when I saw the ad?
Yeah.
And the answer is often that implementation phase.
got skipped or got
Mhm.
maybe a little short-sighted.
Just got minimized. Yeah.
I hear you with that too. Like as you're describing it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I have that. I'm just thinking I use iCal for my life and I've made it a family calendar. So I share it with everybody. And the family calendar is one color, which they can edit. And then once they've
Mhm.
edited it, I change it to their color, which they can't edit. So that
Okay.
way there's a little bit of over control factor there, but it helps me not have things accidentally disappear off the calendar too. But yeah, it's definitely the steps that were involved seem pretty tedious at the time.
Mhm.
Tech for some people is always a challenge as it is. So it's understandable why it can be a little bit daunting. But once you get through that, and this is now your day to day life, where literally when things come up in your mind that you have to do, you can go to your calendar and just put it in there. It
Mhm.
makes it so much easier. There's not lists in your brain and lists all over the house and lists everywhere that you
Right.
put. So let's dive in. Tell me some of the biggest tips or your tech tools that you like to use. And if somebody is just starting with this, like they literally maybe have not used any sort of electronic calendar or system, what do you tell them? How do you start?
So the starting point is just the knowledge that the best calendar is the one that you will actually use.
Mhm.
So there are probably a small percentage of people out there who really need to write things down, physically write it with a pen with their hand. And for them, a digital calendar may always be a struggle. But I think for that group, what I would suggest is sort of do your best with a digital calendar. If you have a smartphone, then you have a digital calendar in there and pair it with sort of like if you are into gratitude journaling at all, so that you are still having the experience of writing things down, your tasks and your assignments in your journal, but that you can also put it in your phone too, because the problem that we're trying to solve with all of these tools, right, is shared accountability, visibility, and shared accountability so that our spouse or partner or our kids or our team at work knows what we are expecting of ourselves and what we are expecting of them. And when there's shared responsibility, we can all move forward. And if somebody drops the ball, we can identify, okay, well, why did that person drop the ball? And then when we can see the problem, we can fix it. So the first thing to know is the best calendar to use for you is the one that you will use. And then step two on that is consider your technology ecosystem. So, what are you currently working with? And the heavy hitters are, of course, obviously it's Google, Apple, and Microsoft. If you're an iPhone family, you probably want to go ahead and get cozy with iCal. If you're a family where one of you has an Android and one of you has an iPhone, you're going to have some more discussions.
What
But
do you suggest with that? Like when you
so
have mixes?
it's funny. I have notes on this for further down because my preferred calendar is Google,
Mhm.
but we're an Apple household. I am talking to you on my MacBook Pro with my AirPods and my iPhone right here. So, my project for later this summer is to convert us to Google.
You're just saying it. I'm like, oh my God, if I had to do that, I would be a little bit. And I do use a Google Calendar too. I've integrated it with certain,
Mhm.
like certain apps and stuff. Like my CRM for all my clients is a Google Calendar. So I've had to integrate
Yep.
that into iCal. But to flip it all into Google gives me a little bit of nausea.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay.
Those are the three big ones. Those are almost always supported by any large hardware you're going to purchase, like a smart TV or a laptop. And the cons are that the whole system right now really is designed to bind you into one brand and kind of it limits your options as a consumer. And it can be risky to put all of your eggs in one basket. If I ask you, where were you this summer when the CrowdStrike thing happened? You'll be able to tell me. Airport did you get stuck in? I was in Denver. We were hosting our users conference and we had a bunch of people who were trying to fly home that day. That's the risk when you create a single point of failure and you're in just one system. But that said, my preferred calendar is Google because it has the best integrations and it's most flexible. Apple is sometimes limited by their desire to build things in their special Apple way. We all have text threads with our Android friends. It's green bubbles and the images don't send right and the emojis are not, calendars are kind of similar. The Google Calendar is easier to share with others and access when you're not on your iPhone, but it works on your iPhone too. Everybody has these cross system apps. This is a solved problem. So yes, that my
Yeah.
summer project will be switching us over to Google. But it's because it's got the best features.
What are like some of those features like that you would say are hands down the best over some of the other platforms?
So my must-have calendar features are it has to be shareable. And on Google, you can create a calendar that your family or friends can subscribe to. With Apple, I have to do it myself and add them. And in some ways, that's a nice security feature. With Google, you can do that, but you can also create a public calendar that people can subscribe to. You already know the other really great use for this, which is kids' school events. Making
Yes.
sure that, yeah, all the soccer games, all the school plays, and the band concerts, put them on the calendar and make sure that the grandparents can see it, the nannies, carpool families that you might share with. Again, just creating that whole system of shared visibility and shared accountability.
Yeah. Okay.
The next thing that I like that Google does very well, I think better than Apple, is that events can be color coded. I like that, just that visual cue to separate the categories. You mentioned that you color code your kids separately. It's the same thing. It makes it easy. This one knows they're looking for the purple one, and this one knows they're looking for the yellow stuff.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
just
I think that's a big game changer. And it also allows, like what I've noticed, like I have a calendar for our medical practice. I have a calendar for my coaching business. I have a calendar for the landlord stuff. I have a calendar for each of the kids, then me, then my husband, then family. So you can create as many as you want with
Mhm.
different colors so that, and like you said, you can invite and share with just certain
Mhm.
people that they don't have access to everything. And that's been nice for sure. And I'm a very visual person, so the colors make a big difference for me. If they all were the same color, it would
Right.
be like lost in so much stuff.
Totally. It just blends together.
Yeah.
Everything is orange. How do I differentiate? Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, no. So that's a big one. Yeah.
I like that it has tasks. The Google Calendar has tasks in a way that the Apple Calendar doesn't reflect. So task items that I can be added just for me that are repeatable, like if there's a cadence to it, like watering your plants, pay your
Mhm.
property taxes, and they're snoozable. So if you didn't get it to do it today, you forgot to water the plants today, you just snooze it and it'll do it. It'll remind you tomorrow.
Oh,
I
wow.
like
That's
that.
nice. I
Yeah.
really like that. What are things that you don't like about the Google or maybe that you prefer that you've noticed with some of the others?
So what I don't like about the Google is that it does not real-time sync to iPhones. That's been sort of, I've held back from converting partly because of that. But I think if I unhitch everything from the iCal, that there's workarounds. So
Okay.
I'll be investigating that. And something they added recently it's on my list of nice to have, not must to have, is availability. You have this third party platform where I can sign up to have time with you. So
Huh.
I'm assuming that on your end, when you set that up, you're blocking time that you will be available. And
Right.
then you're not putting other calendar items in that time. Hopefully, it's managing that for you
Yeah.
automatically.
Yes.
Beautiful. The Google Calendar has it built in now. So you
Okay.
can use
Not
that
being double booked,
availability.
not getting double booked. Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Right.
interesting because it is through Google, right? So I'm sure they're using the Google, I guess, algorithm to make sure that
Mhm.
that happens. So it's nice. I mean, they're all multiple scheduling, like for different types of practices or companies. There's Acuity, I use HoneyBook, there's Paperbell, there's so many different
Yeah.
platforms. And they link into Google such that when I have, and then I integrate the Google Calendar into my iCalendar such that when something else is there, it recognizes it and it
Mhm.
blocks it in the other
Yep.
system. So, yes, I can't imagine having to manually do that myself. That would be just crazy. But, when you're working with multiple clients or patients or whatever,
Mhm.
this is a nice way to also keep it so only one person can get scheduled or one item can be
Yes.
scheduled at a time. So that's really good. What if somebody is already using their system? They have no interest in changing, but they would like to optimize certain aspects of it.
When someone comes to me with that scenario, I like to talk through and find out what isn't working for them. Is
Mhm.
it that they never see their event reminders because they have so many notifications going off all the time? And if that's the case, then what we need to do is optimize your notifications because your calendar is functioning, but you can't hear it in all the noise. That's something else that I had covered with you previously is how to fine tune your notifications. That might be challenging to talk through, but we'll try. You go into the notification settings of your phone. And on the iPhone, it lists every app that you have that is sending you notifications. When I checked for this on Android, it's very similar. It's not going to be called the exact same thing, but it's designed in a very similar way. So you can go into each app and customize what notifications. You can customize whether you even allow notifications. And then you can tweak it so that you're optimizing where does this notification serve you best? There's the different styles. Do I want to see this on the lock screen? I'm looking at the very first app in my phone, which is 1-800 contacts. Oh, I don't need to see that one. I am going to allow notifications because they remind me when I'm running out and give me enough time to reorder. And I appreciate that notification. But that can be just the little badge. I do not need banners on my lock screen popping in all the time for this. Just a little red icon on it. That's perfect. And I'll check on that when those come in. And then something that's sneaky on some of these apps. The next one on my list here is Amazon. I do want notifications from Amazon. And there's a second layer here that's time sensitive notifications. I'm currently allowing those. I will think about if they deserve to keep those. They do not pop in on my lock screen. It's just the banner. There's a feature on iPhone's announce notifications. Siri can tell you when something came in. I cannot imagine how annoying that would be to be interrupted constantly by her. The thing that's important that some of these added recently, I see it in Amazon, I see it in Target, I see it in Wayfair. So I think it's primarily e-com, big ones. There's another layer down at the very bottom. You may have to scroll down. It says Amazon notification settings. And when you click that, it's going to take you into the app itself where they've hidden additional notifications that they have opted you into. And you should take the time to carefully review those and make sure that those are the ones you want to be receiving.
Okay, this
Like
is I didn't know any of this. It looks like mine are off, like for the
good.
deals and recommendations and the feedback.
Yes.
Yes, but account shipping, like I would be like, why am I keep getting all of these over and over? I don't need to know all this. Yes.
That's exactly it. I have the account and shipping ones on, so I get my delivery updates. I want to know when the package has arrived on my porch so I can go bring it inside. I do not want deals and recommendations. I don't want the feedback and all of that, but those tend to be defaulted as on. So
Okay.
go in and turn those off.
Love it. Love it. Okay.
That's
This
yeah,
is helpful too, because you just are like, why am I getting inundated? Like I'll wake up in the morning and there's all these notifications
tons.
and I'm like,
Yes.
why do I have this? I don't need this, but this is helping.
Yep. Yes. So go through, and I mean, this is kind of like taking you back to implementation phase for a minute. You installed this app and you thought it was implemented right, but some of this is just updates that they sneak out on you. But your time is important, and you don't need to give any more random bits of it to Amazon. So yeah, go turn
Exactly.
those off.
Exactly. Totally. No,
There
any other things that you would like chomping at the bit that you find people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. Why didn't you tell us this sooner?
The other thing is focus modes. I don't think it's called that in Android. It's very similar though, and the way you do it is pretty much the same. You go in, and iPhones have three automatically that they offer you, but I customize all of them. The first one's do not disturb. Everybody has a do not disturb setting. We're on do not disturb right now, so that I'm not getting any notifications at all. And you can let people through that. You can customize that so that people can get through. I don't like to. I think that you do need a full stop button.
Yeah.
But then there you can create custom ones. So I also have a sleep one that turns off notifications for everything. But I made it so that my mother and my husband and my daughter, who's 21 and doesn't live with us, they can all get through. They can all send me a text message or phone call, because I figure if my 21-year-old is calling me at 1 a.m. when I'm sleeping, it's something I should pick up the phone for. So the sleep one, I have mine set to turn on at 10:30, because you can set it to come on automatically so that you don't have to think about it. And the technology is just going to help you make the right choices. It's bedtime. Go to sleep. Stop responding to things. It's bedtime.
Yes.
And the work focus is similar, except on that one, I've got emails and notifications coming in during the work business hours. I'm responding to things, but I do make it limit my social media notifications. So if somebody sends me a reel, I'm not going to get a little badge on it or a notification or anything. I will see that when I am at home later. That's fine, just so that it doesn't distract me because I'm trying to get tasks done. And you might have to use the time-based scheduling if you are someone who works at home. I come
Mhm.
into the office every day, so mine is set up by geofencing. So rather than turning on at 9 a.m., like yesterday, I took my kid to the dentist at 9 a.m. So I would have been missing notifications perhaps at 9 a.m., even when I'm not in the office. Mine turns on when I arrive at the office because it is location based. And then
Okay.
it'll turn off automatically when I leave.
So for me, with me working at home and other people who are working at home, that probably won't
Mhm.
work because if it's based on your location and your office is in
Right,
your house, it's going to be off all the time then if you set
right.
that. So, okay.
Right. So you'd probably want to use a time-based one, which could
Yes.
be imperfect sometimes, but you
Yeah.
can always go in and then turn
Turn
it
it
off
off.
so that
Turn it
you,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the focus at when I saw that had rolled out. I really, really enjoy this. I talk about this in other episodes where, 2021, I shut off all notifications on my phone, like
Mhm.
audible alerts.
Yeah.
It made such a big difference in terms of
Yes.
your ability to be present when you're
Yes.
focusing on a task or whatever you're doing. However, you would still get these banner alerts and things. And so when they came
Yeah.
out with the focus option, that was really lovely. And I love the fact that you can set it so it will notify somebody who is messaging you that I'm on focus
Right.
right now because
Right.
they're
Yeah.
not thinking that you're also ignoring them or not able to
Right.
get this message that I'm actually intentionally not answering right now. I think that's helpful too.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about it, I love that it notifies people so that they know, because I would worry, am I being rude by not responding immediately? I'm someone who likes to respond promptly to text messages. The other thing that it does that helps you reclaim your peace, hides the little badges. You don't look at your phone and see that you have, 45 missed text messages sitting
Yeah,
there just to, get you all wound up or anything. Like
exactly.
I'm
It hides it all.
focusing. Yes.
And now, I don't know if you've seen this, you can create a screen for that. So, like, I have a kaleidoscope screen on mine. That way, it tells you, it's an alert to you that, oh, you're in focus mode. So your phone's not going to show it anyway. And so that's kind
Yeah.
of nice as well. But yeah, these have been amazing tips. I mean, this is an arena that you can go on and on and on. There's so many
Mhm.
different things. If there's any one specific part or innovation or trend that you have picked up on and implemented in your life that was completely a game changer, maybe in the past year that we haven't talked about yet, what would that be?
I recently started using Zoom AI to take notes in my meetings.
Oh, tell us about that.
That's that's a totally different kind of thing here, but yeah, I meet with clients daily on Zoom, and Zoom recently introduced an AI companion that will provide. It's not transcription; it's an AI summary of the highlights of the meeting. I'm someone who types quickly and pretty well, so I was always taking my own notes, but it's so much easier. I get now why pediatricians are loving the AI scribes. It just lets you be more present with the person that you're engaging with and not miss things. You do have to review. Sometimes it sneaks some funny stuff in there on you. Um, but it's been game changing.
That's awesome. It's a little scary and it's also so useful if you use it in the right way, just with regards to AI and how we can kind of incorporate it in ways that do help us, but also
Mhm.
keeping the personal touch and the personal
Yeah.
interaction still as a component of our day to day with people that we're with. All right. Well, I think we have covered a ton. Is there anything else that you think? I know we talked about like, pick a calendar that you're actually going to use, because if you don't do that, it's not going to work. And
Mhm.
actually, I want to make a comment about that because you mentioned like people still love just the pen to paper calendar. And I
Mm.
was that girl. I would go to school for my kids with my big flip chart calendar and my colored pens. And as they were telling us things that were coming up, I'd be frantically scribbling them into the calendar. And I remember my thought back then was, I can't convert this to electronic because what if it fails? Like, what if it
Um,
all of a sudden deletes stuff or something, doesn't carry forward? And then what? Because I'm so dependent on this thing for what I have to do each day of my life. And I would answer that with there's two things. One, there are so many backups now where even if your version today gets gone, you can pull up the version from
yeah.
yesterday. So
Yeah.
that is kind of a little bit of a comfort, like safety net that I owned into because in 24 hours, there probably isn't a ton of stuff that I will have lost if it does for
Right.
something to go. And then the second thing is I still do love paper as well. And so kind of manipulating this to how it works for you. So when I do my calendar, I have gotten to the point when things come into my life, I put it directly in the calendar, in my
Mhm.
technical calendar, my digital calendar, or I make a reminder in my digital calendar that I need to add this into, like, if there's going to be more of a workflow between
Mhm.
the steps of getting the final product done that I'm trying to achieve. And then once a week when I sit down and I, do my Thursday timeout where I'm looking at my week ahead, I transcribe it into a paper planner. And then from there, I've talked about, I also go and do a daily sheet of paper where I have a list that I still want that gratification of scratching crap
Yep,
off.
definitely.
So there's ways to kind of make it all work. But the big point is at this day and age, having to carry a paper planner or calendar with you everywhere at all times, anytime things are coming up in your life that need to be added is really hard. And so, again, you're going to navigate the system that works best for you. Maybe you have a list in your phone that you do instead when things like that happen, and then you go and transcribe it into your calendar. But you ultimately really do have to pick what is the system that works for you, because otherwise you're not going
Yeah.
to use it. So,
Yeah. I'm fascinated by that story because when you tell me that you have this paper calendar and you're worried that the phone calendar is going to fail you, what if you spill a giant cup of coffee on your paper calendar?
yes. And even
There's no backup for that.
it's crazy. And I call it, this is my life list. Everybody who knows me in my day to day, my director of operations, probably most particularly, she will see my panic come up if I'm in the office and I can't find my life list. And that's my day to day, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know where I have to go next. I have to pull up my digital, and hopefully my digital has everything. So, yeah, you very much so can lose that. And God forbid if you have your whole life, like year in the planner, and you lose your planner, then you're like totally screwed, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So this is an excellent backup that's stored to the cloud, that's always there.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, I love this. Is there one strategy? If, let's say, people are using calendars or they already have their digital system in place, is there one tip or tool or trick that you love, or a strategy that you love that you would like to send them off with, that, hey, I've discovered this, try this next, or if they're wanting to grow and make it even more amazing for them?
I mean, people who have found a system and are working with it, keep going. Keep doing whatever groove you have gotten into that is working. Keep rolling with it and make sure that you tell your spouse and your work people so that they can do it too.
And when you said that, that's the last piece that it came up for me, is just, if you're not familiar with sharing calendars, like being able to
Mhm.
share. So like I said, I have a medical practice calendar that I've shared with our director of operations. And so we can both see what each other
Yeah.
is having to do, or if meetings need to be put in place where we have space to do that. And it
Mhm.
just gives a little bit more flexibility without having to, have something mutually available in like hard copy.
Yeah,
It lets you be more hands-free in a sense. And then same thing like with the kids and with my husband, it's a game changer. So
it really is.
yeah. Well, thank you, Erin, for coming on today. Tell our audience a little bit about where you're at and how they can reach you if they want to learn more about PCC, or even what you do with all the time management stuff.
Thanks for having me. You can reach me at Erin, Erin, at pcc.com if you have specific questions about this, and I'll do my best to answer them. You can also usually find me at pediatric conferences. I'll be at PMI at the end of January and then at the Women in Pediatrics Retreat in March.
It's going to be
Um,
amazing. Yeah.
yes, that's the best one.
All right. Well, great. Well, it was a pleasure having you, and I appreciate your tips. And if anything comes up, I'm going to be sure to reach out to you if I think of
Please
anything.
do. Yes. All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of From Pissed Off to Poised. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. So enjoy the ride. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review From Pissed Off to Poised on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback supports my mission to get this podcast out to help other women physicians and professionals like you on their path to creating a more peaceful life with more intention and more joy. I enjoy reading every message I get with your input and feedback on my journey, so keep them coming. And if you have a friend who might enjoy the listen, please share this episode and share with them. Lastly, if you want to learn more about my coaching programs and course offerings, check out my website at www.thoughtworkmd.com. Feel free to reach out to me to learn more about investing in yourself through one-to-one coaching so you can start living the life you've always wanted. This show is for general educational and entertainment purposes only. Life coaching is not a substitute for therapy or medical treatment.